Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon and good evening. Yeah. So what we are going to do today is on the new law, that is the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016, which was few of the sections was commenced from the Maharashtra Day, that was 1st May 2016, wherein the state government was given mandate that within a period of 1 year they should make the rules and also set up the regulatory authority. So all the other sections, including the regulatory authorities and other things, were effective from 1st May 2017. So the law is in place now. Now, having said the law is in place, what is that this new law is going to make? So in order to understand what is that new law is going to make, naturally any regulator comes, what normally we expect to have better regulation. So when we say that better regulation, let us list down few of the items as to what was happening with the real estate. Because we have around 2.5 hours or 3 hours, whatever we have. So let us try to list down as to what is that is affecting in this sector. Can anyone, let us have interactive, because it's an immediate study circle. It's more like a workshop. Yeah, what are the issues which we have with the real estate?
Incompletion of buildings.
Yeah. The major problem with the real estate is that they don't deliver. So the commitment ratio is very, very, very poor. So the delay in the delivery is the major portion. Delay in delivery. Okay, positions they don't do. They will say in this Diwali and then next Diwali, and that Diwali never comes. So what is the next other issues with this one? One is delay. Yes. Once the delay happens in the delivery or position, so what is the next thing happens in the real estate?
Illegal.
Yes. The developers in hand with the BMC or otherwise, they do illegal construction also. So what is approved is for 500 square feet, and they will construct 700 square foot, they will cover the veranda and other areas, balcony areas, and then they will do some illegal construction. Thereafter, what we don't get is OC is never received, is not received. And then you have to occupy without OC. Yes, what else?
Black money.
Huh?
Black money.
Yeah. The other problem with the real estate is one of the black money holding. So a lot of transactions, at least 20-30% is in black. And what else? Quality. So the major problem is they say so many things, but there is no proper quality. Yeah. What else?
Amenities they don't provide.
They do not provide the amenities. So what they promise is one, and the amenities, they will say that we will give you swimming pool, club and all that, but amenities are not provided. So they say one thing, they take the money, and then that is never given. Okay, so there is a sky, that is called fly-by-night operators also. Fly-by-night operators. Okay, that means they run away. What else? So we do not know the trend of the developer or his whereabouts. What else?
There is no clarity whether the builder is following all the norms.
Okay, so that means what we are talking about, we are not aware. That means there is no transparency. So there is no transparency. What I mean is, all the informations are not available. So informations are not made available. Which is the plan? What is the title? How it is going to happen? So how many stories are approved? So we never know. So what else?
Diverting the money.
That is another thing where the developers take the money from one project and then they diversify. That means they divert, not diversify, divert the funds.
And
Next.
In Mumbai, the builders are not doing the conveyance deed.
Yeah. So the society is not formed. Society is not formed, and conveyance is not given. Then maintenance is not done properly, and most important is, once the delay happens, they also take additional amount. See, what happens is, you are booking a flat for 3,000, After 3 years they were supposed to give us, but they give us after 10 years, and after giving 10 years the value of that 3,000 has become 15,000. Now they say that you are booked for 3,000, now the value has gone up and now you pay the difference, otherwise you cancel the deal. Otherwise they take in cash. So extra amount also being insisted even after being dealing the position. What else? There can be so many things, but major thing, what we are buying is flat. So flat consists of what? Land. More than that, what is
Periphery, the area.
the most important is area. Super builder. So what happens is, builders are the people who are able to sell imaginary area. What cannot be measured? What cannot be measured is super built up area. Nobody knows. We can measure the carpet area where the carpet can be laid. But what happens is they are selling the super built up area which cannot be measured at all. So some developers will have 70% super built up, 80% super built up. So this way, these are the various issues. Now we will deal with one by one as to whether this law takes care. So these are the issues which you listed, also I have listed. This was not given to you. So that means it's in general, you will see that the real estate is highly regulated. There are n number of laws. Now if you have to talk about law, because as I said, let us go ahead with the lot of discussion mode. So what are the laws that governs real estate? Because we are all chartered accountant, I understand, but still to interact and to make it more lively, what are the laws that we are governed by real estate? Or there is no law? There is a law, enough law. What are the laws governing real estate? To start with,
Societies Act.
Transfer of Property Act. Transfer of Property Act. That's the first act. Then, so where the transfer takes place. Then what else? Yes, CHS, Cooperative Housing Society Act. Then we have a Registration Act. We have Stamp Duty Act. We have Development Control Rules. We have Maharashtra Regional Town Planning Act. We have Maharashtra Land Revenue Code. We have land laws. We have construction laws. We have various contract. Even the Indian Contract Act is also dealing with the real estate, because there is a transaction which is happening. Specific Relief Act, Criminal Procedure, Civil Procedure. You name the law. Income tax also has got something to do with the real estate. Urban Land Ceiling Act. So n number of laws are already there, which are some are the central law, some are the state laws. But in spite of having so many regulations, so many laws, what we have seen is that it is not regulated the way it is required. All these issues are already there, which we have seen. Coming to the next. So I don't think I need to read it, which you already read it and noted. Now let us come, this is the real estate bill which was passed as an act. As I said, 1st May 2017 is the complete commencement has happened, and almost all the states it has started. Now just to take you through, we call it as a Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2006 at our Parliament. It was passed on 10th March and then Lok Sabha on 15th March, notified on 26th March, came into force some of the sections from 1st May 2016, and it is the central government and state government to notify the rules in 6 months, as I said, and there is a Real Estate Regulatory Authority, there is an Appellate Tribunal. So whenever there is a regulation, as I said, to regulate, what we need is a regulator. So who is the regulator here? The Real Estate Regulatory Authority. We call it as a RERA. So what is the duty of a RERA? To register the real estate project. Now as against the registration of a company or a firm or a partnership or a promoter, what we call as a builder, instead of registering a builder, what it is done is to register a real estate project. That does not mean that the builder is not registered. Builder is very much registered. Thereafter, how many projects he has done. Because sometimes, each project has different unique features. Therefore, each real estate projects are registered. Then of course we have real estate agents which are registered. Then we monitor the Real Estate Regulatory Authority monitors the project, supervises, redresses the dispute, controls, protects all the stakeholders. This, which is important part, was missing in the existing law, which in Maharashtra we have Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act. Have you heard about this? Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act, which is commonly known as MOFA. Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act was not having this. Then law is not retrospective. Any law which comes normally, a regulatory law, is always a prospective. It has to be from 1st May 2017. So if this is a prospective, lot of questions arises. What will happen to the transitory period? What do you mean by transitory period? What is known as ongoing project. What will happen to ongoing project? Naturally, the ongoing project has to be taken care. So therefore, the law is not only having a prospective effect for the new project, it also takes care of all ongoing project. Though it is a prospective, but ongoing project has to be taken care. Now, whenever any regulation comes, we also understand, whenever it is an ongoing project or a new regulation comes, for a transitive period, for an ongoing business, ongoing transaction, there should be some time which is given to cover up with the new law. So, if you look at this, this was notified, if you see 1st May 2016, so there was a time given for an ongoing project to complete the project as early as possible. That means 1 year time was already given for them to comply, so that even after 1 year, when it is not done, some people are still ongoing. In that case, from 1st May 2017, that has become applicable. The most important, it is applicable for all the projects like commercial, residential, plotting. Most important, it is including for plotting also. Now, we call it as a mother of real estate law. The reason is, now this is going to supersede all the existing law as far as real estate regulation is concerned. Now, I will try to give you some of the differences between the existing law and the new law. See, we have an existing law. The existing law is known as MOFA. I call it as a MOFA, Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act. I think you must have all heard about it. Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act. Then what we have is RERA 2016. I will try to make few differences. Now, Maharashtra Ownership Flat is applicable only in Maharashtra, whereas this is applicable across India. So that means this has become an act of parliament and this has become an act of assembly. So this is the first thing. Second, as far as implementation is concerned, the Maharashtra Act was implemented in Maharashtra only, but this RERA is going to be implemented by respective state government and implemented for the union territories, it will be implemented by the central government. So this way the rules are made. For this what we need is a rules. So therefore rules are made by the respective state governments, and as far as union territory is concerned, it is made by the central government. Third difference is, if you see the word, what we have got is Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act. The word used is flats. The moment flat means it is only for the constructed area. Whereas, what has happened here is, in the real estate, the word used is real estate. So the moment I say real estate, what it includes? It includes all type of immovable properties, which means it is not limited only to the flats. So as there we have flats, this is talking real estate, which means even plotting is covered. Now when I am saying it is covering plotting also, it also covers freehold rights and leasehold rights. If certain plots are given on leasehold basis, certain plots are given on freehold basis, anything or the flats are given on leasehold, freehold or on whatever basis, so everything is covered. The next is more important, as I said, it not only concerned with the flat, it also concerned with the building, developed plot and various commercial, residential, industrial, anything which a person constructs or develops. Even the plot you develop and sell, like an NA plot, all these are covered under RERA. So this way, the RERA has wider effect than this way. Now, this is the definition of apartment. Yeah, you can ask any questions, please.
Does it cover leave license also?
Leave and license, it is not covered. What is covered is where you get lot of money from the people, and then you buy and sell. Lease is more of a immovable property, where lease is covered under Transfer of Property Act. It is more of a long gestation, and there is a property interest created. Whereas in the case of a leave and license, you are covered under Easement Act. Yeah. So it is not covered under the transfer of property and it has a limited role, it is a licensing. So therefore that is not only your living license is not covered. So any questions are most welcome. I like to have more and more questions. You must have already understood because books one can read and understand. What is important is what comes in the mind should be addressed immediately. So therefore, now let us look at the definition. Instead of the word flat, in the entire real estate law, what they have done is they have used the word apartments. Now why they have used the apartment? That is because the apartment can be, the definition of apartment also has been given. It is a wide definition which includes buildings, includes wings, it includes floor, it includes even a small structure, small room. So therefore, all this to be constructed also in the form of apartment in future date, everything is covered. So provided or agreed to be provided are covered as the apartment. So the definition of the apartment has been expanded. Then next comes, I will take further the difference between MoFA and RERA, because existing law, if you are able to map it, then it becomes easier to understand. So in the case of MoFA, we had only 18 sections. In the case of RERA, we have 92 sections. Now, though there are only 18 sections, again the word used in the MoFA, that is Maharashtra Ownership Land Act, where there is a sale of flats taking place between a promoter and the buyer. So these are the two parties connected with the MoFA. Now in the case of RERA, what has happened is, even the promoter, the word landlord is used. Now why the landowner is used? Because the landowner also gives the land for the purpose of construction on development basis or on revenue sharing basis. So therefore, now the word landowner is also used in the builder. So the definition of promoter, the one who develops, has been expanded. The second most important which has been expanded is, it does not cover only private individual firm or a company or associate persons, it also covers government bonds. In the case of MoFA, it was not covering government bonds. It was not covering municipal corporation, it was not covering CIDCO, it was not covering MADA. Anything related to other than, private was not covered. Now today, because it is a regulation, and when we say that any regulation cannot be only for private firms, it has to be for all. So therefore, the definition of the word promoter, where the builder was only limited in the MoFA, has expanded. Now, the word allottee, where we have MoFA, only buyer. But in the case of RERA, the word used is allottee. Now, why the word used allottee? The reason of using word allottee is that there are some redevelopment building where the builder can give the existing flat owners one flat. That is called permanent alternative accommodation flat. In such cases, so in that case, what happens is, in case of a redevelopment building, the existing flat owners are also required to be given the flats. So therefore, they are not the flat buyer, they are called allottee. So in the case of MoFA, such allottees were not covered. Now in RERA, that is covered. Again, it can be a group of persons. The next thing which is more important in RERA is about real estate agent. So in MoFA, real estate agent was not covered. So existing law was not covering real estate agents. Now real estate agents are also covered. Then we have various other professions whose names need to be disclosed on the website. Now who are the professions? Naturally, in real estate, we need 4 professions. So in case of minimum 4 professions, it may be many, but major 4 professions, which of course you can all list down. So let us see who are the 4 professionals, and then the first thing, we need a land. For a reconstruction, we need a land. The land needs what? Good title. So who will verify the title of the land? As far as the real estate is concerned, naturally advocate. So the first profession whom the RERA controls is known as advocate. Now advocate also should have minimum 10 years of experience. So this is the first thing. The next advocate, after the advocate, once we get the land, then we have to construct the building. So in order to construct the building, which profession we catch? Naturally, architect. So the next person who is professional involved is architect. Now the third person, once you have a land, you have architect who has made a plan, who has got the approval, then you need to construct. For constructing, who need? You need engineer. So the civil engineer is required. And once you have engineer, you have architect, you have advocate, and naturally you construct the building and you sell to the flat purchaser. Once you sell the flat, what you get?
Money.
Money. So the moment you get money, naturally whom you need there? You need a financial doctor. That is financial engineer. Who is a financial engineer and doctor? None other than chartered accountant. So therefore, we have a role of the advocate. Now if you see MoFA, if you see Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act, normally these professions were held post taken, but they were never and ever made accountable and responsible. Now in the case of RERA, all these four professions are made 100% accountable and responsible. One way of making it accountable and responsible is to give certain qualification, that means who should be like that. And secondly is that if they do something wrong, then they should be made accountable and responsible, including removing their membership from the respective regulatory body. So this way, this coach, I call them as a coach, because ultimately a person, real estate business person, he may not be knowing anything. Let us assume Dhirubhai Ambani, he has done a Reliance in such a big way, but he may not be that educated and having, but he had business next. But even if he had a business guts, he was requiring a lot of professionals. So similarly, a real estate person, the builder, may be having a land, may be having a business, you know, all the qualities required for a business, but he needs to be guided professionally by these four professions. If that coach gives a wrong guidance, naturally they should be made accountable. Otherwise, what is the meaning of those coaches? Why they should hire professionals? So these are all going to be in practitioners. So they are not the professionals who are in employment. Employment is okay, but they should be always in practice. So the practicing people, that means holding certificate of practice by respective authorities, and they become a coach, and these names are disclosed on the website. Now you get a coach also. You have all this, and then you need a contractor. So even the contractor's name, address, all these obligations are also displayed on the website, and they are all made accountable. So one more thing, under MoFA, all things was required to be disclosed. Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act, the promoter was required to give the agreement, this, that, everything was there. But the thing is, there was nobody who would definitely go through all these documents and certify, yes, the builder is genuine, his documents are genuine, he is allowed to sell. So therefore, now what has happened is, under RERA, Real Estate Regulatory Authority has been appointed, who will collect all the approvals, all the documents, all this information, and then put it on the website, and thereafter, if all the informations are right, and he gets satisfied, then he grants him the registration. So this way, there is something called registration of real estate project with the regulatory authority. And once the registration of real estate regulatory authority project with the real estate regulatory authority takes place, thereafter he is allowed to sell, market the real estate. Earlier, anybody would market anything by taking good brochures and quality brochures. The quality construction will not be there, but definitely brochure and other things will be very good, and that is how they used to fool the people. Now they will not be able to fool the people. So the way regulator has come, there will be complete website. In that website, all the details are required, and the real estate projects are registered. So this way, we have a difference between MoFA and RERA, and all the provisions of MoFA are included of other informations are put in. So let me go next. So even the allottees can be group of persons, they can be done.
So
So this is yeah.
all the MoFA, the RERA supersedes the MoFA, all the regulations.
Absolutely. So there is a superseding effect. That means whatever the MoFA provisions are there, of course MoFA is in existence. It is not repeated. Working of MoFA, whatever I have said now, 18 sections, I have put it in the form of a slide. In this, if you see, there were a court orders, there were a punishment, state government was there, direction was there, and many people who wanted information, they were getting information, but to get the information, they were required to go under the RTI activist, file an RTI application, go to the court, hire the advocate. That means everything was required to be done through the court proceeding. But now, what was missing there is enforcement delivery. I said, if you look at section 3 of Maharashtra Ownership Land Act, where the flats are being sold, this is not the today's law. Why MoFA came into effect? Because the MoFA came in the year 1963 in order to, stop the unscrupulous activity of the developers. But the law always, evolves. At that time, they thought it is better if we have a small law which will make the builders, give them a certain rules and regulations wish list. So if they will not contravene the law. So considering that in place, the law is enacted. The law laid down everything. The builder cannot sell unless until the plan is passed. He cannot sell without title report. He cannot take the money without registering the agreement. All this wish list was made. But the thing is, you also understand, I also understand. Let us say there is a traffic rules. We are aware of the traffic rules. Everybody is aware. And then we are supposed to observe the traffic rules. But I know, in spite of anything, if there is no traffic havaldar, what happens? We all break that. Why? If there is a traffic havaldar, what happens? There is somebody to monitor, watch. Not only monitor and watch. Then we know that he is going to fine me. And if I don't have the money, my license will be confiscated. So therefore, I will be more careful. Correct? So similarly, here under MoFA, what was missing is the enforcement agency. So there was no constable, traffic havaldar, to catch hold of the developer before he commits something. So this way, there was no proper delivery mechanism. Now, then what we see in RERA? Naturally, in RERA, what we see is like this. We have the purpose is to regulate and development. Next is, when we say regulation and development, naturally there will be transparency and efficiency. So any regulations, what it demands is, the major thing is transparency and efficiency. Now whenever anything is transparent, naturally it is going to bring efficiency. What transparency is expected here? Transparency in the sense, you are required to tell us when you are going to deliver. Let us say I am going to deliver 31st December 2020. Then it is starting on, let us say today, 30th of May 2017, I entered into agreement, and in 3.5 years I am going to get the position, the date is written. Now, is it enough? The answer is no. What happens is, in the case of transparency, all the documents that you need to take, approval you need to take over a period of 2.5 years, you need to list them. When you are going to get, what you are going to get, under which rules you are going to get. Secondly, what are the milestones? When I say milestone, it is talking about when is that you are going to do the print, when you are going to do podium, when you are going to do the first floor, second floor, plastering, this, that. What are the milestones for completion? And once you give a milestone, is it over? The answer is no. Once you give the milestone on quarterly basis, you are required to report. See what happens in professionalism, in any professionalism. Not only that the person who does the job should know his job, but secondly, in professionalism, what happens is you should also be reporting to another higher. When you are reporting in any professionalism, if there is no reporting, then that does not become a professionalism. Once you report, there is some, naturally there should be some supervisor. There is somebody to take the report. After taking the report, one should verify it. What has been done is right or wrong. So that means there is something called maker and checker concept. So if there is a maker, somebody is doing it, there is a builder is saying I am going to do this, then okay, you have given it, you have already reported to the regulator. Thereafter, the same regulator is going to verify and ask for the report. Give me on quarterly basis, you said in the first quarter you will do this, second quarter you will do this, third quarter you will do this. So if you have not done on quarterly basis, not only your report, there somebody is going to question them. So if there is a question to be raised, that means it will be verified also. And it will be on the public domain. So naturally, the transparency brings the efficiency. So this way, this law demands that on quarterly basis, you also need to upload and update the information on the status of the project. So this also brings the efficiency. If somebody is going to ask you, then we also become lazy. If somebody is going to give me the targets, somebody is going to ask me certain things, then the target may be set by me. Even if I set target myself, still we don't fulfill that because we have the habit of laziness. So this transparency means more efficiency, and ultimately at the end of the day, for whom we are doing this flats? Naturally we are doing this flat for consumer. So the consumer for whom we are doing this building should be fully taken care. So therefore that this law takes care. And for maintaining all these, we have a regulatory authority that I call it as a first umpire or main umpire. Then we have a third umpire, that is a Appellate Tribunal. Then you will say if there is a first umpire and third umpire, what about the leg umpire? Naturally there is a leg umpire also. In this law, so what we have is 3 umpire system. Of course the government, all that is there, but within the field, in the entire real estate game, if that is, we have to call it as a game or a business, in that business we have a real estate regulatory authority and then we have adjudicating officer. I have not mentioned here, adjudicating officer is like a leg umpire, and then we have Appellate Tribunal, that is a third umpire. So if you are not happy with the decision of this, naturally you can go there. Okay. So this way, what does the adjudicating officer, the leg umpire we know also has a limited role to play. He cannot do anything and everything. Whereas main umpire who is there, he can give no ball, wide, sixer, 4, whatever he wants to do, and out, all that he can do. But leg umpire can give only if there is a run out. Correct? Maybe sometime hit wicket. That's it. He cannot give beyond that. Whereas in the case of third umpire, yes, only when there is a appeal. Same way, here adjudicating officer, out of 92 sections which we are talking about, only 4 sections are given to adjudicating officer. Which are the 4 sections which adjudicating officer does? So the first section is section 12. Adjudicating, the word adjudicating officer. Adjudicating means what? Assessment. So what he goes to assess? He is going to assess the damages. See, ultimately we want to take care of the protecting the interest of the consumer. So the consumer, if you have to protect the interest of the consumer, that means consumer should be given what has been promised. Suppose something which has not been promised to him, naturally he is liable, he is entitled for damages. Who will accept these damages? Naturally there should be some officer. That officer, because everything is taken by regulatory authority, his office will be flooded with various complaints. So therefore, to assess the damages, there is somebody called adjudicating officer. What are the instances where the damages can come? First is under section 12. Now under section 12 is related to advertisement. So anything related to advertisement, false advertisement, you give false, sample flats, you promise something, moon, and then you give something else. So this way, if there is anything which has been promised and that is not delivered, because you will know what is being delivered or not only when it is delivered. So till such time everything is on the paper or in the brochure or prospectus. So if somebody is in a position to complain to the adjudicating officer and give them the evidence that I was made to believe that I will be given full tithes, and whereas the tithes given is half, I was made to believe that I will be given steel or this, that, various modular kitchen, everything, because that was there in my sample flat. This is what I understood. But when I entered, there was no modular kitchen. So this way, various damages can be claimed, which was already given in the advertisement, which has not been delivered. This is one. Secondly, under section 14, where it says, suppose there is a certain plan specification, plans, based on certain plans, elevation, various things, or in the case of ambience, you have taken something, but the plan has been changed without intimating you. Plan, so there is a modification of the plan. Plan specification has changed. In that case, you can ask for the damages, because you were said that you will be given, let us say, on north side this flat, that flat, but he has expanded the flat. There where you were said that you will be given only 5 story, but actually 7 story is given. So many plan changes can happen. Any changes, plan changes, then he has to take the consent. Without taking a consent, if he has changed the plan, and you can bring to the notice of the authority, that is the adjudicating officer, that you have incurred some damages, or let us say you were promised about 600 square foot, just to give you an example. After the plan change, it has become 550 square foot. So naturally, there is a lot of damages cost. So you can ask for the damages. This is section 14. Section 14 also talks about that there is a defect liability. What happens is, and so far the defect liability was for 3 years. When I say defect liability, structural damages, leakages, workmanship, all these. Now in the case of RERA, under section 14, the defect liability is given for 5 years. So any workmanship or any changes happen in the structure, then up to 5 years the defect has to be rectified within 30 days from the date of informing the developer. And if the developer does not do that, then what happens is there are a lot of damages which has cost. Damages could be for the furniture, it could be for various other things, and those all need to be recovered. So section 14 is talking about the damages recovery for the defect liability. Then comes section 18. The section 18 is about the compensation. The compensation could be due to the delay in delivery, because the flats have been given delay, because we discussed one of the issues is delay in delivery. So because the position is given late, that means there can be a lot of issues. What are the issues that can happen? One is you are paying a EMI interest. You are paying a cost to your investment. So if you are paying a cost for your investment, naturally that need to be recovered. And one more thing, because of the delay in position, you may be hiring a premises. So if you are hiring a premises, naturally you are paying a rent, because you have promised in December 2020 position, but they are given in 2021. Means 1 year you have delayed the position, and because of that, the rent you have paid. The third thing which can happen is, suppose you have delayed the position, possibly, okay, then you want to withdraw from the project, and you should be given that permission to withdraw from the project. So once you withdraw from the project, whatever investment you have done, naturally you will be entitled to get that investment along with the interest. Because the delay is not caused because of you, delay is caused because of the developer. Now, having said that, we want our money back and we have got the interest also. Possibly the person has not invested in the project for the purpose of getting the money back with the interest. He has invested for buying the flat. So what happens is, let us assume you invested at the rate of 3,000 rupees. In 3 years you are supposed to give you position, let us say by 16 you are supposed to get the position, you put in 13, 16 you are supposed to get the position, but today you are in 18, still you are not got the position. Okay. Now thing is, now immediately you can withdraw from the project. Once you withdraw the project, in the year 18, instead of 3,000 it has become now 7,000, because the property prices goes up. Naturally, you will be able to entitle for the damages claim 7,000 minus 3,000, that means 4,000 is the appreciation cost, and if you want to buy the same flat today, you have to pay how much? 7,000. Naturally, 4,000 rupees per square foot is your loss, damages. This 4,000 rupees loss can be claimed by filing a case before the adjudicating officer. So this way, three sections, section 12, section 14 and section 18 are the three sections where the flat purchaser can ask for the damages. Now let us proceed one more section. There are 4 sections for the adjudicating officer. The 4th section for the adjudicating officer is section 19. Now if everything is for the customer, there should be something to the promoter. So naturally, if the what is known as flat purchaser does not pay the amount in time, naturally he has to pay the interest. The interest rate is fixed, that is SBI plus 2%. Whatever is the SBI prime lending rate plus 2% should be the interest levied on the flat purchaser, as well as for the delay payment, as well as on the promoter for delay position. These are the 2 things. Now under section 19, if the builder wants the society to be formed, the flat purchaser is supposed to form the society. If it does not form the society, because of that some damages are incurring, then the promoter can file a case against the authority. Because he has not signed the certain document, because he has not taken the position in time, because he has not paid the money in time, if there are some damages caused, or because of him, he does some structural changes within his flat, because of that damages happen, which he is not supposed to do, and that because of that he has to incur certain cost. All that can be recovered by the builder under section 19. So this way there are 4 sections which are for the purpose of damages. So this way these are the only 4 sections out of 92 which will be taken care by adjudicating officer. So this way we have the adjudicating officer. Now as I said, now if I have to map, you have just seen the earlier slide, what is known as MoFA slide. MoFA slide, what was missing was the regulatory authority to ensure compliance and appropriate. So that is in place. What was missing is the third umpire, appellate authority, that is in place. Then adjudicating officer, of course it's a competent authority for approval and other things. Adjudicating officer is there. So this way, now you don't have to go for information under RTI or advocate everything. All this information will be available on the website. So now all the information will be on available on the website, and if you are not happy, you can go to the regulatory authority and Appellate Tribunal and then get your problems resolved. So this way, this is a new slide which you can see. Now, what I will do is, Ashwin, you can take one? Yeah. I will invite Ashwin Raje, who will just give you some of the highlights of the RERA Act, which of course I have discussed, but he will proceed further in the slide as to what are the silent features in the next few slides. Yeah.
A very good afternoon, good evening to you, all of you. As said by CA Ramesh Prabhu, the object was to establish a regulatory authority, and which in Maharashtra also it has been effective from 1st May 2017. Now, whatever the queries that we discussed, whatever the doubt that you expressed, that delivery not in time, black money, amenities and things like that, those are actually forming part of the basis of the declaration for registration of the projects which every promoter has to give. Before I go to the mandatory public disclosure norms, let me just start with the projects that does not require registration. They are any project which is less than 500 square meters or 8 apartments or plots, okay, which has already obtained a occupancy certificate. That is the definition. So any existing project which is obtained occupancy, any project which has obtained occupancy certificate does not needs to be registered. And another one is that any project which is outside the planning zone, that is very rarely we will come across in India also, an area which the government declared, which the state government or Jilla Parishad rural area, which will be declared that this is outside the planning zone. If a project is outside in falling in that planning zone, then it is exempted also. In Maharashtra, the entire there is no such zone exists, so let's not worry about it. Apart from this, all projects needs to be registered, and the registration date is on or before 31st of July 2017. After which, any advertisement, invitation to sale or to buy will have to carry a registration number, failing which the penalty will be between 5 to 10 up to 10% max of the estimated cost of the project. And this information which is given on the website of RERA is available for view with to the general public also. With the by putting in the registration number, you can also view it also. So what is this information that is required? Let's classify into two parts this information. One is an individual and another is a non-individual. In case of individual, it starts with the basics of the individual: his name, first name, middle name, last name, his PAN number, his address, his photograph also, and then the same thing applies to little differently to a non-individual, whereby the type of the entity, the registered office address of the entity, the fax number, phone number, email number, mobile number, the name of the contact person, the name of the director, his photograph also of the director. In case of other than Maharashtra, in case of union territories, even associate companies details are required. Maharashtra, it is not required so far. Then it requires details of the project. Here the details of the project, it will be identified by a project name. It will be talking of how many square meters it is, what is the approved FSI, what is the proposed FSI, what are the approvals that has been received for it. It will also specify the boundaries, giving the latitudes and the longitudes of the east, west, north, south also. Then the statutory approvals are required to be given. The contractual obligations that are there, the amenities, and if I could go to the slide, or I don't know if it would be necessary.
So here, just to add, details of the developer, as I said, the details of the developer will be registered as either promoter, partnership or whatever. Once the details of the promoter comes, thereafter the number of projects that they undertake. So no doubt the promoters will not have an identification number. Each project will have a separate identification number. So everything is related to the projects. So yeah.
So like you said that all the existing properties who is developing, it is also covered.
Yes, if it does not, I have not received an occupancy certificate, then it is an ongoing project.
Then what about the those projects whose like FSI is increased on a particular project?
Yes.
So will that be covered, because for that occupancy is already
Granted. So the cutoff date is 1st May 2017. This is the date where the RERA has been effective. Correct? Once the RERA is effective, that means all new projects from this May 1 to 2007, the registration. When you read the registration, that means all approval has to be in place. Approval, sanction and all. Whatever is the approval as per the prevailing FSI. Okay? So once that is clear, now once the RERA comes into effect, naturally we have to take care of ongoing also. So the definition of ongoing we should know. What is ongoing? Ongoing means where there is no OC. If there is no occupation certificate as on 1st May 2017, that means it is an ongoing project. So all those ongoing projects has to be registered. When I say ongoing project, that means the ongoing project where there is a commencement certificate. CC. Where there is no CC, that comes as a new project. Where there is a commencement certificate, that means it is an ongoing project, but OC has not come. So if it is a commencement certificate is already there, which means sanction is there. If sanction is there, the FSI whatever is there, it is already mentioned. So that will be there. Now things where there is already OC, if, according to you there is a OC for a building, so that means it is a completed project. So having said it is completed, now further FSI if it is to be used, naturally if that FSI is there, that becomes a new project. If the BMC gives the sanction, he can go and approve. But if that OC has come and already society has been registered, then without the permission of society he cannot go for this one. So that all increased FSI will go to the society. If the society is not made, then it will be with him. If it is with him, he may not be able to construct on the same floor. He has to construct another building. When he is constructing another building, that means he needs the approval from municipal corporation. Once he gets the municipal corporation FSI sanction, then he will go under RERA and then he will sell in the market. I think this is clear now.
Yes, sir.
So where there is no OC, now the many in seminars, the people ask me, sir, I have got a building which is about 25 years old. I said, fine. There is a society already made. I said, that is also good. Then conveyance is also given by the builder. No, but there is no OC. Should we get the project registered? Because what is our answer? What should be our answer? As per the law? Yes or no?
Yes.
100% yes. Because the OC has not come. OC has not come means that building is incomplete. If its building is incomplete, that's the only criteria for ongoing project. There is no other condition. It doesn't say that you have sold all the flat, then don't have to register. Now the second question which the builders ask me, in number of builders seminar, they ask me, if this is the case, then we have sold everything. Then what is that we are going to achieve grade? Yes, you are not going to achieve grade. But one thing is sure, that you have taken money from those people and you have not given them what you have promised. So if something has been promised to them, what you have promised them? With the occupation certificate. By giving an occupation certificate only, you will hand over the position. But before that only you are handed over. That means you have given the defective constructed or defective without complying with the required law. So therefore, the law demands that you should comply. Now many people say, okay, if the landowner or the builder has expired, what will happen? Then their legal rights will come into effect. Whatever it is, ifs and buts. But the law says that on 1st May 2017, if there is no OC, that needs registration. Now when we are registering as a developer, promoter, partner, LLP, government, whatever it is, we register as an entity, and after registering as an entity, each of the project under that entity will be registered as a standalone project, and after registering a standalone project, we give the land title, whether it is a leasehold, freehold, what is the title report for last at least 30 years, one man advocate who has got a standing of experience of 10 years, and then all the statutory approval that we have got and which we are going to get, all that will be disclosed on the website. So these are mandatory public disclosure. Unless until you give this disclosure, you will not be able to sell even a single unit, neither you can market nor advertise. All the contractual obligation also need to be uploaded on the website, and this way the next is to take it further. The entire this of course we will see it later, but then just to put it right away right now. So there are 10 chapters. So which are the chapters and how they have been made? Just to see, the chapter number 1 is related to preliminary. What is talking about preliminary? Preliminary is very simple. What is the law, when it started, and what are the definitions? So section 1 and 2 is talking about preliminary. Now chapter number 2 is related to registration of real estate project and agents. Now as far as real estate agents are concerned, section 3 to 8 is about the registration of a real estate project, and 9 and 10 is about real estate agent. All the agents who is doing a broking business in the real estate need to require to register. So their obligation is not to give wrong information and all, and if they do give any wrong information, they are liable for action. Chapter number 3 is this, obligations of the allottees. Now obligation of promoters, sorry. Obligation of promoters. This starts with section 11 to 18. So section 11 to 18 is the obligation of promoters. Now if you are to look at these sections 11 to 18, section 11 talks about that unless until it is registered, he has to disclose all the information, he has to form the society, he has to give the conveyance, he has to give the delivery, agreed upon date, he cannot do some illegal construction. All this is given in section 11. Section 12 talks about false advertisement. Suppose he gives some false advertisement and does something wrong, so that means he is responsible to make good the loss. Section 13 talks about not more than 10% can be taken as it proceeds unless until he registers the agreement. So that means section 3 to 8 is he has to register the project before he is selling, and then we are talking about he has to adhere to the approved plans and specification, that is section 14, and he has to register the agreement on receipt of 10%. The moment he receives more than 10%, he has to register, or rather up to 10% he can receive without registering the agreement. The moment he wants to receive more than 10%, he has to register the agreement. That is given in section 13. Section 14, he has to adhere to the plans and specifications. So he cannot go beyond the plans. He cannot do any illegal construction, and if he does, he is liable for punishment as well as compensation to be paid. And one more thing, he is also liable for defective liability, which I said, for the illegal construction or even structures. Then section 15 talks about he cannot do what is known as third party interest. He cannot create a third party interest. If he creates a third party interest, then what has to happen is he has to get 2/3 allottees consent. If he has to create a third party interest, he wants to sell the project to XYZ, then 2/3 allottees signature is required, consent is required, and approval of the authority is also required. Similarly, under section 14, if he has to change the plan, he needs an approval of 2/3 allottees. Unless until 2/3 allottees agree and the real estate authority, real estate regulatory authority approves it, he cannot change the plan. Now you may say why it is required. The reason is, suppose you are booking a flat thinking that it is Tata Housing which is constructing, and all the details of the promoter is given of Tata Housing, everything is done, and later on you understand that that person doesn't want to do it. Now he transfers to XYZ who may be not worth. So you booked taking somebody into account, and now he is handing over to somebody else. Then in that case, the association of allottees or 2/3 people's signature is a must. Similarly, if you are thinking that plan I will modify, you booked thinking this is a plan which has been shown to you, now you want to change the plan, in that case 2/3 consent is required. So this way, section 15 is about third party interest. Section 16 is a very important section that is related to insurance. Now what happens in any building activity, or what is important is land. So the land title is very important. If there is any defect in the title, that should be insured. So the insurance of the land title is most important. So one has to insure the title. If you may ask, where is the insurance company for land title? Yes, today there is no insurance company for the title, but so long as there is no insurance, the entire thing will be taken over by the promoter himself. So it is a responsibility of the promoter to see that title insurance obtained, and till insurance company is, you take the insurance, the title, any defects are there, any compensation has to be paid, all the responsibility of the title is taken by the promoter. Section 17 is related to conveyance. So the promoter and builder, as we discussed, has to give the conveyance of the land within 3 months from the date of giving the occupation certificate. So the moment you get an occupation certificate, within 3 months you have to hand over the conveyance. So the conveyance can be handed over even undivided right. So it is not that you have to give always a divided right. Sometimes subdivision is not possible. In that case, you can give an undivided right. And the last is section 18, which we also discussed about the compensation. The compensation to the allottees. Why compensation can happen? It can happen for 3-4 accounts. One is delay in possession. Secondly, compensation can happen because he has withdrawn from the project. Third, compensation can happen because of the defect in the title. So if there is a defect in the title, defect in the construction, and delay in the possession, all these, the defects or the delay has to be compensated. So therefore section 18 is talking about compensation. This way, Section 11 to 18 is talking about obligation of promoters. So therefore, the section 3 to 8, which we talked about registration. Now if you have to go about the first slide about the registration, let me just give you the breakup of the sections of 3 to 8, so that further takes upon us as to what are the obligations which are put. Section 3 says which are the projects to be registered. So which are the projects to be registered? The projects which are, as he has rightly pointed out, having more than 500 square meter, where there are more than 8 units, where the OC has not come. These are the projects which is to be registered. And when it is to be registered, as far as ongoing project is concerned, it has to be registered by 31st July 2017, but within 3 months from the date of commencement of the Act has been commenced on 1st May 2017, therefore it has to be registered by 31st July 2017. The next comes is section 4. Section 4 talks about, very importantly, what are the information that should be given for the purpose of registration. It starts with the last 5 years records of the promoter. So that means last 5 years records. Who is the promoter? What are the projects he has started? What is his balance sheet? How many projects, when he has started, what he has committed, whether he has delivered or not delivered, what are the court cases in each project, what are the issues in each project, all these details of the promoter has to be given. And section 4 also talks about that he has to open a separate account. He has to give an affidavit saying that I will, whatever money comes into me, I will open a separate account, and in that separate account, that is called known as separate designated account. In that designated account, he is going to put 70% of money. So, in this 70% money, what he is going to put, that money is regulated by 3 professionals. Who are the 3 professions? First is the architect, who is going to prepare the plan. He has to verify the site, and before the money is withdrawn, 70% of the money received from the customer has to be deposited in the separate account. Now 30% can be taken away to the promoter for his office overheads and other expenses, but 70% has to be put in a separate account. Unless until that, once you put separate money in that account, in order to withdraw that money has to be used for that project. Whether that money is used for that project or not, who will certify? Naturally, architect, because he is the one professional. That therefore, architect has to certify the percentage of the work completed. So the architect defines what is the percentage of the work completed. The second person who also certifies the amount spent, amount incurred. Now who will certify the amount incurred? Naturally, the engineer. How he certifies? He visits the site, he finds out how much money has been incurred on this project for preparing, let us say, plinth. So much cement, so much steel, so much labor, so much material is involved, sand, all this he will quantify, and then he will multiply by the cost incurred on that, and that is how he gives the cost incurred. This is called estimated cost incurred, and again he verifies the site. Now, having said that, architect gives the percentage of the work completed. Let us say 10 story was supposed to be completed, 2 stories completed. He gives a certificate that 20% work is completed. Now architect comes there and he verifies. So as against, let us for example, as against 200 crore to be spent on the construction, let us say 50 crore is spent, which means architect says 50 crore is spent. If you look at a percentage as against 200 crore, 50 crore means how much it works out to? 25%. But still, he gives only cost income. That is 50 crore. He will say 200 crore was the total amount to be spent on the construction, but 50 crore is spent, so that he gives. Now the third person who also has to certify the money involved in that project is the CA. Now the chartered accountant verifies the books of account. What happens is, the architect goes to the plan and gives how much percentage is done. Engineer gives the certificate for the cost incurred at the project, and chartered accountant goes to the books of account goes through the various bills and he verifies how much cost is incurred. Now in the given case, let us say architect says 20% is completed, engineer says 50 crore is spent as against 20 crore estimated, and then CA says, okay, in the books, let us say 60 crore is spent. How much is spent? 60 crore is spent towards the land cost and construction, and let us say land cost 100 crore is invested. Because land cost is neither architect certifies land cost nor the engineer certifies, CA certifies it because he has gone through the books of account. So 100 crore is spent on the land cost and 60 crore is spent on the construction. Now we have to withdraw the money. 70% can be withdrawn only on the certification by the 3 professionals. Now when we get 3 professionals, naturally CA as per the book 60, but what is applied is 50 crore, which he will take. Naturally CA will take one of the lowest. So the lowest is 50 crore. So that means CA will say 100 crore is spent on the land cost and that can be withdrawn. So CA says land cost is 100 crore and construction cost which is spent is 50 crore. So total 150 crore is already spent, because no doubt in the books it looks 60 crore, but what is applied is 50 crore. Now you may say, how come in book 60 crore and on the site it is 50 crore? The answer is very simple. Sometimes we may purchase 100 tons of steel for all 10-story buildings. What is applied for 2-story is hardly 2 tons or 20, whatever. So I think that makes sense. So in the books it can be more. Sometimes it is also possible, let us assume for a minute, in the books it can be 40 crore. Say engineer certifies 60 crore and here it can be 50 crore. Can it be possible? Answer is yes.
Yes.
It is possible. How it is possible? Because you have not issued the bill. Material has come. Delivery challan has come. Okay. But you have not issued the bill. Neither you have made the payment. Unless until you make the payment, that is cannot be considered as income. So therefore, possibly you must have taken on credit basis, and therefore possibly what is applied is, so in that case what we will take 60 crore as per the engineer, here it is only 50 crore, then we will take only 50 crore, whichever is low. No doubt the material is applied, but what can be seen in the books is only 50 crore, and whatever is the lowest, on that it will be done. So this way the reimbursement from the 70% money, what can be withdrawn is reimbursement. In simple word, what has been incurred on the project, either as a land cost, construction cost, only that can be withdrawn from a separate account. So the CA certificate is required whenever you exceed that limit. Now CA gives a certificate as against 100 crore land cost, 200 crore construction cost, 300 crore is the total cost required, out of which 150 crore is spent. Therefore, up to 150 crore you can withdraw from this bank account. So it is something like a drawing power. So the chartered accountant gives a drawing power for a particular account. Okay? All are true? So this way the CA gives the certificate for withdrawing the money. And of course, afterwards, what happens is section 4 also says that once these 3 professionals have carried out this, the work has been done, at the end of the year, that is within 6 months from the close of the financial year, it has to be audited by another chartered accountant, not by the same CA who has certified. Now the CA who certifies the withdrawal also should be a practicing CA. He cannot be one who is working in the company, he should be separate practicing CA. So this way you have to, what is known as certify. Thereafter also he says that under section 4 we have to regularly update the website. Whatever the quarterly basis, what is the status, how many flats are booked, how many garages are booked, what is the milestones you have reached, all this information has to be uploaded. This way section 3 to section 18, some of the obligations which are put on the developers. So I'll just once again recollect, or rather I would just like to put across some of the provisions.
So
Yeah.
once again I want to ask.
Yeah.
See, nowadays there are so many, there are so many offers from the construction companies. Pay 20% now, 80% that time of completion. So how will this work under RERA? You pay only 20%. Out of that 20%, you are not allowed to take 70%. So only 30% of that 20%. So 6% you are allowed to take at one go.
Wait. See, you are talking about a sale. I will take an example. Sale of a flat, correct? Where I am just giving an example. The flat cost, let us say 1 crore. Okay. So against this 1 crore, you are going to pay 20 lakhs.
Yes.
80 lakhs also has to be paid. It will be paid in stages. Who pays this?
Purchase.
No. 80% is paid because it is 80-20 scheme na, you are talking about. So this has to be paid in stages. This is paid by the finance company.
Okay. Yeah. The bank.
Bank. So that means finance company pays on your behalf. That means somebody is paying. Isn't it? Instead of you paying, housing finance company or a bank pays. Barabar hai?
Okay.
Now, the moment you pay 20 lakhs, what happens is 30% he takes away, that is 6 lakhs he takes away. What goes here is 14 lakhs. This 14 lakhs goes in the separate account, and to withdraw this, there should be 3 people's signature, which is there. Up to 150 crore he can withdraw. So the moment he gets 14 lakhs, he withdraws. Another 14 lakhs comes, he withdraws. He goes on withdrawing. Now he has completed the construction, let us say up to plinth. Now because he has done up to plinth, earlier you had paid 20% at the time of booking. Now he has done plinth, so you have to pay another 20%. Now who will pay this 20%? Naturally, bank will pay. That means another 20 lakhs has come here. When the bank pays, they are responsible to pay 6 lakhs to his personal account. Promoter personal account means? Then 14 lakhs will come here. Then after he will withdraw. So 80-20, now the interest on 80-20 till the construction period has to be paid by the promoter. Naturally that will be paid by the promoter from this 30%. Developer will pay the interest on your behalf. He has taken the loan on your behalf, he will pay the interest on your behalf. Now after 3 years, now 80% all money is paid by him. Now the building is ready. Now you pay the society formation charges and then you take the possession of the flat. And thereafter future EMI you go on paying. So that means whether banker pays or you pay, the RERA account says 70% money should go in a separate account. And that money can be withdrawn only. This also gives a comfort level to the bank also. Any money that I am dispersing, the 3 professionals are going to ensure that that money is going to be used for the
Construction of the same project.
So when the bank is giving the money, they will also create the third party interest. So finally they give mortgage to the bank.
Yeah, but here, yes, very good question. Here, it is not a third party interest. Here, this is the flat belonging to you. You have taken the loan. Only the promoter is paying interest till the possession is come. But this is you who have created the mortgage.
So if the promoter has taken loan as a project basis, not on a flat
In that case, I will come. Yeah. That we will discuss. Here is the case. It is a specific case.
You are right.
Now you are taking another case, which is very interesting case. Yes. Now suppose what we have been telling the promoter, that in case you want to take a loan, okay, in that case you have to create a mortgage. In order to create a mortgage, if you have sold some units, then 2/3 allot is consent is required because you are creating a third party interest. Mortgage means third party interest. You are talking about project loan. Instead of that, if you look at all the projects which have been registered so far, what they have done is they have mortgaged the land in advance.
Before the buyers come in, you are the only. It is like
And he has disclosed.
it is. I am the managing director of my own company, private limited company I form. No other shareholders are not there.
Correct.
And I have all the rights in the
That's
articles of association. I can terminate anyone. I can permanent managing director.
So you have mortgaged the land to a finance company, okay, in order to get the construction loan. And you have taken a construction loan, let us assume.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, you are informed in the website that this land is mortgage
Already mortgaged.
But there is a compliance that is called under section 11, that it is a duty of the promoter to clear all the liability before he hands over the conveyance.
Okay.
So there is a obligation cast on the promoter that any liability that he has created, it has to be completed before possession. Now you may say, if he is not doing it, naturally law will take course.
Yeah.
So law will go for his liquidation of the company, attaching his private property. Section 40 talks about how an order is issued by the regulatory authority, how it can be executed. So there is a wide power, including imprisonment, all that can happen up to 3 years. So this way, so we are talking about, so I think now we are through, correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So suppose the OC was already there at present and the building fell down due to some natural calamity or any reason. So will RERA be applicable to this new project or not? Because then the new building will be created there.
So RERA section 16 is very clear. You have to take the insurance of the land, title, and also the building which is getting constructed. Even during the construction period, you have to take the insurance of the building. And thereafter, once the building is completed, all the insurance policy, both the insurance policy should be handed over to the association of allottee, which means society. Thereafter, the society has to pay the premium. If the society does not pay the premium thereafter, then if the building collapses, then that is the responsibility of the society. Till the project is handed over, it is the responsibility of the builder to take the insurance. Now, building insurance is already in place, there is no problem. So, they will get the general insurance for the building insurance. That they will do.
So if the house after 25-30 years its life is over, it is collapsed, there is an insurance, money is also getting to society, and it is they are reconstructing and it's giving to the same people. They are not selling. You know, it is for there are 100 members. Say 100 members are getting their flats allotted. In that case, this registration required.
Not required.
Okay.
But you have got 100 flats. I will
Yeah,
put you an example. You have only 8 flats. You are constructing 8 flats. No problem. If you are constructing 9th flat,
Then all these laws will come.
okay, then even you are selling 1 unit, then you have to register. So long as you are not selling a single unit, you don't require registration. Within 8 people, there is one exception, which of course we forgot to mention. So this way, these are the requirement under the RERA, obligations of the promoter under RERA. So further, as I said, under section 11, subsection E, this is another important provision that the promoter has to enable the formation of an association of society, or a society or a cooperative society, as the case may be, of the allottees or a federation of the same under the law applicable, provided that in the absence of local law, the association allottee by whatever name shall be formed within a period of 3 months from the majority of the allottees having booked their form. What we mean is, if there is a sale where the flats are booked and the booking is more than 50% of the units, okay, which means let us say 51%. In that case, even before the building comes up, only flats are booked, then they have to form a society. What happens is, this entire law is minimum government, maximum governance. When I say minimum government and maximum governance, that means government will come into effect only when there is a violation. And maximum governance, how they are ensured is, you have got a 4 courts. They will guide you, and if they misguide, then they are accountable. Who are the 4 courts we have seen? Advocate, architect, engineer and CA. That too, there are 2 CAs. One CA for withdrawal and another CA for audit. That means they have given 5 professionals. And these professionals are appointed by whom? By the builder themselves. Who is paying them? Builders. So can these professionals misguide them? The answer is no. Because they are into practice, and if they misguide, then they will be into trouble. So second thing is, in order to ensure even these 4 professionals or 5 professionals, plus the builder should not do something wrong, even before the building comes up, so the people who are the customers, their association is formed, so that they will also keep a complete watch on the progress of the work. Third, most important is that what they have done is on quarterly basis you have to upload along with the photographs about the status of the project. And next is before you register the project you have to give the various milestones as to how the work will be completed. So this way the system is, the law has been made in such a way that maximum governance or the builder is supposed or forced to do maximum governance, and then if some violation takes place, of course it will go to the regulatory authority. So this way association of authority is another good thing which we can see in this. Otherwise, unless until the society building is completed, society is not formed. Then the obligation of promoter, if you look at all the obligations that I discussed, there are certain things which is known as contractual obligation. What is the flat consideration, when the possession will be given, what is agreement to be registered and all that. But statutory obligation is you have to register the agreement once you receive 10%, complete the building in all respect, provide the occupation certificate, building completion certificate, provide common facility, water connection, electric connection, disclose the information, provide all the documents, register of society, providing conveyance. These are the statutory obligations which is put under section 11 to 18. So you cannot do away with this, and these are the obligations which are on the promoter, and that has to be done. The next comes the legal body. What type of legal body can we make? Naturally, the legal body is, you can form a society or a federation or a Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act. Okay, so which is in Maharashtra, we have more and more cooperative societies are formed. So under Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act, we can form an association of allotee. The second thing, we can also form a company under Company Act 2013, and then we can form a condominium. There is an Apartment Act, Maharashtra Apartment Act, where in order to manage the common affairs, we can have a declaration register, and that way we can form what is known as apartment association. Then of course, if you still feel that these three legal bodies are not proper, we want to have another legal body, like you can have an association under Society Registration Act, you can have a trust under Bombay Public Trust Act, you can have a firm under Indian Partnership Act, you can have a public sector undertaking like sometimes, NABARD, Reserve Bank, these are the public undertakings, or Union Bank. They purchase the flats for their employees, and they also govern under that particular act, and then they manage the maintenance. So, and it becomes a staff quarters. Maybe you can form LLP or any other legal body which you think which can be formed. So this way the association of authority is also possible. Then comes section 17, the transfer of title. The promoter shall execute a registered conveyance deed in favor of the allotee along with undivided proportionate title in the common areas. The promoter shall execute, the word used is shall execute, a registered conveyance deed in favor of the allotee along with undivided proportionate title. So it means even if there is a layout in which only one portion of the building is done, and of that 10% is only done, even 10% title has to be transferred. So this way, when it is to be transferred, it has to be transferred within 3 months from the date of issue of occupancy certificate. Within 3 months from the date of issue of occupancy certificate, you have to register the society. You have to give the conveyance. So this is section 17. Then what we have is the obligation of the allotee. This is section 19. So we discussed chapter 1 preliminary, chapter 2 registration of the real estate project and agents, chapter 3 is obligation of the allotee, promoter, and the chapter 4 is obligation of the allotees. What is the obligation of the allotee? Very simple. They should make the payment, they should become a member of the association, they should not do any illegal structure. Once the position is taken, they should pay the interest, SBI plus 2%, SBI prime lending rate plus 2% if there is a delay. So this way, the association of allotee is obligation. This is how the chart on conveyance has been given. Now, silent features of the further, if you are to talk about, the regulatory authority will coordinate the efforts of the development of the sector. It is not only regulation, you have used the word development also. The sector has to be developed. It is not only controlling the sector, it has to be developed. Second is rendering the advice to the appropriate government, state government, to ensure the growth and promotion of a transparent, efficient and competitive real estate sector. The real estate sector, if they need certain support, regulatory support, that has to be given to establish a dispute redressal mechanism. So that any dispute between a builder promoter has to be resolved, and this is how the regulatory authority acts as a nodal agency. Then comes power to make act. Naturally, the central government. The rules will be made by the respective state government or the union territory for central government for union territory. The regulatory authority will make the regulations. So Maharashtra government, we have a regulator already set up. We have the rules already made. The regulations are already in place. Central government and the state government also issues the directions from time to time for the better working of the act. Now, as I said in the beginning, dispute redressal mechanism is done through the adjudicating officer. That is called section. There are 4 sections. Like a leg umpire, he is limited himself to 4 sections. Who is adjudicating officer? Section 71 says not below the rank of district judge. So, a district judge not below the rank of this one, and most important is all this dispute resolution mechanism has to be resolved within 60 days of making application. Any justice, if it is delayed, it is like a justice denied. So therefore, the law has provided that within 60 days from the date of making an application, within 60 days from the date of making application, you have to give the judgment. Then if you are not happy with the judgment of the regulatory authority or the adjudicating officer, you can go to the real estate appellate tribunal within 60 days. So the time given to the appealing authority also 60 days. And whenever the appeal is filed before the appellate tribunal, the beauty is that appellate tribunal can demand minimum 30% of the damages or what is known as penalty has to be deposited. Thereafter only appeal will be admitted. Appeal will not be admitted unless until 100% of the money paid by the allottee with the interest and compensation deposited and 30% of the penalty. Minimum 30% of the penalty. Unless until that is deposited, real estate appellate tribunal will not hear the appeal of the either promoter or the allottee. If the allottee is required to pay, let us say 10 lakhs, then you pay at least 10 lakhs here, then I will listen to your appeal. Because people cannot go to the appellate tribunal just like that. Next, jurisdiction of civil court is barred, consumer court will continue. So now this is related to current law, concurrent law, all this. It is an Indian constitution. It is in concurrent list, therefore this has been done by the central government. Next. Wait. This is a screening authority. It is not an approval agency. When I talk about RERA is only going to screen. It is like a SEBI. Before coming out with a public issue, they will go to the prospectus, they will see whether all permission required is taken, all the disclosures are made. Once everything is ready, then they will say, okay, now you go for public issue. Same way, before going to the public for the sale, they have to, all the information will be taken, it will be put on the website and the regulatory authorities get satisfied. Then they will be allowed to open it in the public. So this way, this is how it is a screening agency and it is not a separate approval agency. Now, as far as registration is concerned, as I said, area does not exceed 500 square meter, and where all the completed, where there is already OC, less than 8 units, and where the renovation is happening, there is not a single units are sold, these are exempted, otherwise all other projects require registration. Now, these are the various information which we saw is going to be available on the website, but it is in a tabular form. I just made it like this. So, he has a title free of charge, and then project to be completed as per the term. He will say that project to be completed in what period and what are this, and then 70% will be put in account. All this information will be available. Now, consequence of the lapse. Suppose if the registration is cancelled because of the mass complaint, or on the SOMO, or on the basis of the audit report, it can be cancelled. It will be revoked. After the revocation, it will be responsibility of the promoter, that is authority, to debar the promoter. This project will be taken over by the association allotee It will be handed to Assuming Authority. These photographs will be displayed as a recorder and his account will be frozen. This is the entire act overview, preliminary, registration, functions and duties we chapter, rights and duties of authority we saw, real estate regulated authority we saw 20 to 40, related to dispute redressal and registration real estate project. Central advisory committee, there are section 41 to 42, that is giving advice to the central government and the state government. Chapter number 7 is real estate appellate tribunal, we have seen 43 to 58, and chapter number 8 is offences penalty adjudication, which ranges from 5% to 10% of the estimated cost of the project. Finance accounts audit and reports. This is about finance accounts audit and reports is about the regulatory authority, and miscellaneous 79 to 90. So these are the 5 rules which are published by the government of Maharashtra, Right to Public Service Act, and these are the various sections. Now we complete only section 1. Section 2 is all definitions. But overall we have understood that this is a tool for the flat buyer, and it is a really going to help the system if at all it is done in a proper perspective. And of course there are a lot of ifs and buts, because it is a new animal which has born, and again we have a lot of what is known as apprehension that whether it will be successful or not. But I always believe that we have to make it successful and to end this story, because many people ask me in number of seminars the way you have asked, and you, kya ho? What will happen? This will it be something like another thing? So I end always with one small story which I would like to end today also with and then you have to decide what will happen. So there was one Sadhu Maharaj in one small village, but over a period of time he became so famous and so famous across the world. People started coming there to understand what is the future, this, that, and he gives perfect answer. And he has become so famous that small village has become very big. But in that small village there was one notorious boy. That notorious boy thinks this Sadhu Maharaj is so famous and I should test his knowledge. So what he does, he goes to that person early in the morning and says, Sadhu Maharaj, I want to ask you a question. He says, okay, go ahead. Kya sawal? So he goes and takes his 2 hands on the backside and he asks him, कि मेरा हाथ में क्या है? So now the Sadhu Maharaj knows that a lot of pigeons are there, a kabutar hai. So he says, yes, it could be that only. So he says, yes, pigeons. दूसरा पूछता है कि ठीक है कितना है? तो अभी 2 हाथ है तो yes. Then he says, fine, Sadhu Maharaj, इसका color अभी because he is notorious, he wants to understand. अभी तो test करना है. So he says color बताओ. अभी उधर तो white है, black है, all type of pigeons are there. But this boy being notorious, he thinks he must have taken only white because he is going to test me. He has understood that he wants to test me. So now he says white. Okay. Then is it female or male? now he has to go further. These all questions he had made up and he has seen also. What the female? Because white color and all this, and it is he knows he is asking this question means तो बोलते हैं दोनों फीमेल अच्छा वो भी सही because now he knows. now वो बोलता है कि साधु महाराज now you tell me ये जिंदा है कि मरा now आपने इतना सवाल किया तो अभी जिंदा है कि मरा. now साधु महाराज thinks यदि मैं जिंदा है तो ये बच्चा क्या करेगा इसको मार डालेगा. यदि मैं मरा है बोलते ये जिंदा दिखा है. so now साधु महाराज says see the life of this bird is in your hand. ये दोनों का जो इसका क्या बोलते हैं उसको the life of this birds are in your hand. So now it is up to you whether to kill it or leave it alive. Same way I want to conclude that RERA is a new animal which has been given to the customers, given to the public at large by the government, and now it is up to you and me who are going to be part of this implementing agency, and it is in our hand whether to make it really work for the public and make it live long or kill it. So with this, I think you have understood and got the message. So let us get involved, let us make it active, let us make it wonderful. Thank you very much.